What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mevo Live. My name is Will Kirkpatrick, and I am a senior technical specialist here at Mevo. And on this show, we get to talk all about Mevo, all about the hardware, the software, the apps, and we get to answer all of your questions. So if you have any questions about any of that, throw that in chat. Even if you have a production question that is kind of loosely tied into the Mevo, we could probably help with that as well. As always, on Thursdays, it's two of us, and so I'm joined today by Joseph. How you doing, Joseph?
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Happy to be here.
Cool. So let's see. Let's dive in. First, today, let's talk about our setups a little bit. I am using a Mevo Start that's connected to a Mevo Power over Ethernet adapter. I'm getting my Mevo powered by that, as well as just using Ethernet for that more stable connection. And then I'm transmitting NDI from the Mevo to my computer in OBS, and that's where we've got everything connected up right now. And then for audio, I'm using this Bluebird mic. Yeah, that's right. Connected to an M audio mixer, and then from that back out to the Mevo Start using a 3.5 millimeter TRS cable. And what other specifics? I guess we're using Skype right now, and that's how you see Joseph. And Skype has this really great feature where it can output its NDI signal, and you can bring that directly into OBS. So that's really cool, really convenient, because we're in two very different locations right now. So it's great. So what's going on with your setup today?
Yeah, so my setup right now is actually pretty simple. So what I'm using is a Mevo Start. It is wireless webcam connected to my computer, and then that is also running audio using the 3.5 millimeter input on the back of the Start. And I'm actually using also a Bluebird. It's a little bit out of frame here. Let's see if I can tilt that in. No, it's too out of frame, but it is right here, and that's what I'm using for my audio. And that, again, is going directly into the Mevo, and then wireless webcam is being sent into the Skype session that we have set up here. And then obviously I'm coming through NDI into OBS to you.
Nice. Very cool. So let's see. First, to kind of give you sort of a... Oh, you know what? Let me jump into some slides real quick. So let's see. Switching over to me real quick. So we are live twice a week. Let me get my name out of there. There we go. We are live twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tuesdays are Ask Mevo Anything. That's one of us. And we can answer any questions that you have. On Thursday, we can also answer your questions, but we can go more of a deep dive into some specific Mevo topics. Today, we're going to have a great talk about webcam mode, both wired and wireless. We also have a referral program that we'd like to mention every show, because there are so many of you that are talking to your friends and family about the Mevo, and you should absolutely get rewarded for that. So if you refer them, you can save them 5% and you'll earn 5% commission back, which is a nice little bonus of sharing the Mevo love. And you can find out more on mevo.com/referral. We also always want to talk about our latest Mevo offering, which is the Mevo Start 3-pack. This is available on Mevo.com. It is also available on all of our resellers. I think that's Best Buy, B&H, Adorama, definitely Amazon, basically all the main ones that you can think of. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. Sounds good. So before we jump into what we want to talk about today, we do have some questions coming in. So I do want to mention, if you are watching us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch at Mevo Camera, you can comment in the comment sections and get your questions answered live on the show. So, well, let's just take a dive in and start looking at some of these. So right off the bat, Fred the Hippo says, what happened to the Tuesday through Friday live show schedule? Thanks for that question, Fred. Honestly, we wanted to kind of narrow down the amount of shows we were doing to kind of refine them a little bit. We wanted to use our Thursday shows to do a little bit more as far as what the Mevo capabilities are, and to kind of stretch the the advantages of using the Mevo and also use it with different locations, different technical specialists, and kind of give it a mix and match. We don't do the Wednesday multicam and the Friday audio show anymore, just because that's kind of built into these shows now. So, for example, today we'll be talking about audio. Our main discussion today will be about webcam. But if you have any multicam questions, Will is here. He's a multicam expert, and he'd be the one to ask. So, thanks for that question. And let's see. I'm saying this wrong. I'm going to say this wrong, but it's a Smirno. That look right to me. Will the Mevo be able to go portrait live videos on TikTok? That's a great question. I'm going to, for now, say no. Will, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would say right now, the Mevo can't do portrait mode. Something that I've been doing recently, though, is using the Multicam app, which can record directly to your phone or tablet, to record videos. And you could even put your Mevo sideways, record it to the device, and then just rotate it really, really quickly and then post that. So that's kind of the hack right now.
Copy that. All right. So Stuart says, hi, guys. I forgot to ask this on the last broadcast. Well, thanks for watching, Stuart. We appreciate it. When using the wireless app on PC or laptop with the Mevo connected wirelessly, okay, that's how I'm setting up today, can we use a mixer connected to the Windows 10 machine as an audio source instead of the Mevo audio? Related to that, can we connect the USB power adapter to the Mevo Plus just to keep it powered? Can we access the Mevo camera mic and add it to our mix? Okay, couple of questions there. So I'll tackle the first one. So yes, you can use your computer audio if you are using your Mevo as a webcam. The only thing you want to just double check is if you run into any type of sync issues, depending on what platform you're using. So you might want to solve those sync issues before sending out to like a Zoom application or Skype or something like that. If you don't have any sync issues, then great. Can you use a USB adapter to power the Mevo Plus? Yeah. Can USB powered? Yeah. You can keep it powered up using a USB adapter if you're plugging it through your computer, if you're powering it from your PC. Just know that if you are doing that, the charge is going to be slower, so don't expect it to charge fully 100% as fast as it normally would connected to a brick charger. So you want to make sure about that. And can we access the Mevo camera mic to add it to our mix? Yes, depending on what program you're using. So, Will, for example, you're using OBS. How is the audio kind of set up in your system right now?
Let's see. I'm doing NDI. I'm sending NDI audio over to OBS. And then I've got a virtual cable that goes from OBS to Skype, so you can hear that as well.
Right. So if Will wanted to use a separate audio source in his OBS program, he can actually add in an additional audio source and use like the computer's native audio, or if you have another mixer or something like that, or interface plugged into the computer, you can use that there, and then you can adjust your sync values inside OBS. So that would be the way to do it that way. But thank you for that question. We appreciate it. All right.
Hi to Jose and Mark. How you guys doing? Hi from the UK. Very cool. Fred the Hippo says, greater than 3 Mevos available in multicam coming soon. I'm pushing for it. Always. I'm always pushing for it.
Yeah. All right, so then Stuart's coming in again. He's saying, can you confirm how to use the Mevo Start in direct wired Ethernet cable mode? Sure, yes. Don't have an official PoE adapter yet, but I was hoping to get a cheap solution, but not having any luck. Okay. Well, first thing to double check is are you using a PoE switch, right? So are you using a switch that can provide power over Ethernet? Double check that. A lot of routers don't, so not everyone can, especially if you're using any type of third-party adapter. I actually happen to have a PoE right here, so I can show you how that works. So essentially what happens is the Ethernet will get plugged through the Ethernet adapter right here, and then you can go output the USB-C to the Mevo, and then you can also power it from this side. So this is what really makes this adapter unique, is the fact that you can plug this into another wall outlet and give it power if you don't have a PoE enabled switch. Now, if you do have a PoE enabled switch, you don't need the additional power source, right? So that will then go into your Mevo Start via the USB-C connection. And then from there internally, you have to set up your Mevo to accept Ethernet by going into hotspot mode. I know it's a little confusing. So, Will, maybe you could probably explain this a little bit better than I can about setting up hotspot mode with Ethernet, I should say.
Yeah, so once you have Ethernet connected to your Mevo, you can go to the Mevo 2.0 app and then press Configure Mevo, and then you will see an option that is Ethernet plus hotspot. And so you select that, and then you'll be good to go. If you're using a third-party PoE, you might have to do power USB devices. But if you look in the Help Center, we actually have a help article that goes through all the different steps as well, if you need just further information.
Awesome. And just keep in mind, too, if your Ethernet is not plugged in, the Mevo won't show you the Ethernet option. So that's a kind of a point of confusing for some people, too. They're like, hey, that option's not there, but they didn't plug in their Mevo yet.
Right.
Sweet.
Cool.
Okay, let's see. Jay says, if I want to just buy a second Mevo and use 2 instead of 3, can I use the Mevo multicam options? I do a lot of softball editing during the video games, and angle changes would be good. But I didn't want to buy another 2 Mevos. So yes, absolutely. So Will, you can expand on that too. As far as using the multicam, it's not just limited to 3. You can use less if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. You can use 2 Mevos. You can even use 1 Mevo. You can actually technically use 0 Mevos. You can use the Multicam app and just stream graphics or stream graphics and audio. So that's actually something that I would love to see if there was kind of a musician or some kind of music artist that just wanted to stream, their music or something like that. Maybe ASMR or something.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, from Belgium, greetings. My first question for you, is it possible to use the Multicam app with Zoom? A lot of Multicam questions today there, Will.
Nice. So unfortunately not at this time. There is a sort of workaround hack if you really wanted to use the Multicam app where you can stream from the Multicam app using a custom Rtmp to your computer that has an Rtmp server on it. It can get a little bit complicated, but another really good option is put your Mevos in NDI mode, and that way you can select the different cameras in Zoom. But that's definitely something that is highly requested and that we're looking into for sure.
Sweet. I'll take this one. Wolfgang says, which output do you use on the mixer to go to the Mevo start, line out, or headphone out? Best regards, Wolfgang. Wolfgang, this really depends on your mixer. Line out or headphone out are both great options. I would avoid using monitor out because the line level coming out of a monitor out might be different than coming out of an actual line out. You can also use aux inputs, so depending on your mixer. So if you have different options for outputs on there, any one of those will work. The Mevo takes a stereo 3.5 TRS input. So if you do have a stereo signal, if you're coming out of a left and right channel, just make sure you have an adapter or that's coming down to the 3.5 millimeter TRS input that you would need to put into the Mevo. So either one of those will work. Just make sure you have a line signal. Great.
Fred is back. Fred says, I want to be able to use a Mevo in the Multicam app while streaming and display that single Mevo video angle on the TV. Any suggestions for how to do that? Let's see. I want to be able to use a single Mevo. The easiest way to do that would be to stream to a destination, probably YouTube or something like that. And if you didn't want it to be seen by a bunch of people, you could stream to YouTube unlisted or privately or something like that, and then open up the stream on the TV using a Chromecast or an Apple TV, or if it's a smart TV, that would be built in. That would probably be the best way to do it. That way you don't have the TV showing any of the multicam interface.
Yeah, you want to separate those two in that scenario.
Yeah.
Will, you could also probably, would you be able to set that up using like Streamlabs OBS or something like that?
Yeah, definitely. If you, it's kind of like a more complicated way, but you could I tell people they can connect their Mevo to, oh, you mean like locally, like Rtmp?
Well, I was thinking more. I guess it might not work because you would need the whole because you would need like a separate monitor out from Streamlabs to like have one feed go one way and then the other feed go another way.
Right.
But and just use like the HDMI connection. So there's a couple of different workarounds. I think yours is actually easier though. Just stream it to a destination.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't want to use the Multicam app, you could do NDI to your computer using NDI Studio Monitor, and that way you'll just have the NDI input from that Mevo, and then you can send that to the TV using like AirPlay or something like that, or even just an HDMI cable.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. What's next here?
Stuart says we use StreamYard. You know, StreamYard it's insanely popular. We really like it a lot. A lot of people use it. We definitely considered using StreamYard for this show, but we ended up seeing overall better results from Skype. There's also the advantage of being free, which is always nice. But StreamYard is fantastic as well. All right, we've got another question. Tell us about the Mevo Logitech deal. What does it mean for Mevo in the future? So it just means that we can do more better, basically summed up. It's really exciting. Obviously, Logitech is a huge, successful company. I think I got my first Logitech product in like the 90s or something like that. So it's a great company, and we're really excited to do a lot with it.
Yeah. All this is going to do is just kind of open up some doors for us to, maybe bring some new things down the line and some new features, and maybe some new things that we can bring along with the Mevo as well. So Logitech has a great ecosystem, and we're looking forward to being part of that as well. So cool. So Stuart, coming back to answer your question, I'm not using the PoE switch. I have set the power over USB-C in the app settings. Okay. Okay, so that's not going to work then. That would be your issue, right? So basically what's happening is you're trying to power the USB adapter, the PoE adapter, I'm sorry, from the Mevo, and I don't believe that'll work. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Will, but I'm pretty sure in this one you're going to need that PoE enabled switch to provide power to the Mevo. So you're kind of going in the opposite direction.
Right. The advantage of the Mevo power over Ethernet adapter is even if you don't have a PoE switch, it has a USB-C port on it, so you can plug that in. So yeah, that's the big advantage of the Mevo PoE that unfortunately third-party PoEs don't typically have.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, so that's likely the issue why the other ones weren't working. Okay, Fred the Hippo's coming in. I've tried using AirPlay while in video crop and zoom menu, but if I'm in that menu too long, it disconnects the stream. That's a hard one. That one we might need to open up a ticket for, Fred. And if you can recreate that exact scenario and then just submit the ticket immediately afterwards, this way we can look at the logs and see what's going on there. Also, make sure you let us know like what your network looks like. What are your upload speeds, download speeds? You're paying the whole scenario as far as how your network is processing. Any other thoughts on that there, Will?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's covered it. Definitely let us know. Open a ticket, send those logs, and we'll help you one-on-one.
Sweet. Jay says, thanks for the info, gents. Love the great info put out there and coming straight from the experts. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do, Jay. Thanks for watching us. So it's probably a good time to mention, I think we have some great programs for our users. Will, you want to pull up that referral slide?
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. There you go.
All right. So Jay, if you're a Mevo user and you have other friends or family that might be interested in Amiibo, get your own referral code. So you can sign up for that at mevo.com/referral or mevo.com/refer. And you can save friends or family 5%, and you can earn 5% commission back on your end. This is for U.S. customers only at this time, and it's for the mevo.com website. So mevo.com/referral, mevo.com/refer. if you're into what we're doing here, spread the Mevo love out there and get your own referral code. Sweet.
Nice, well done. All right, let's see.
Go for it.
Leo says, thanks for talking about the hotspot connection. Also, when using graphics with the Cam 2.5 app, do I save the graphics to my camera roll? Can I create graphics on my PC? So with the Mevo app, the camera or the app saves the graphics onto the Mevo's SD card versus the Multicam app where they're saved on the device. You can do graphics on your PC and then you can import them to your phone or tablet as long as they're in the default Photos app. And so that's the way I would do that. And let's see, app do I save the graphics on my camera roll? So yeah, your camera roll in the default Photos app.
There you go. All right, Jeff Young says, will any of the new iPads that were released give a better resolution than an iPad that has 2 years old when controlling the Mevo camera? That's an interesting question. I mean, natively, the screen resolutions are going to be better just because the iPad itself is better, but it's not going to change the what the app is outputting. So the preview on the app is a lower resolution version of what you're going to see on your overall stream. And the reason being for that is just to cut down latency when you're trying to do image adjustments or audio adjustments or anything like that. So I don't see how it would really make a difference depending on what tablet you're using as far as that goes, because that's not going to change. But obviously, if the tablet looks better, the tablet looks better.
Yeah, also the new, from the Apple event recently, it was the iPad mini that got updated. And then there is that new updated iPad that is the default cheap model. And we haven't tested those yet, but it's something that we are very, very excited to do so, for sure.
Sweet. All right. Gordon's chiming in. Hi, Gordon. How are you? He says, I'm working with live music quite a bit. Is there a possibility of adding a peak limiter to the controls coming through the aux jack? Gordon, I love that idea. Yeah. There is kind of a limiter. It's more of like a compressor limiter with the auto gate function on the internal microphones, but you're talking about the line in. So really, I mean, that really needs to be done kind of prior to it gets to the Mevo. So you might want to use, if you have any limiters on your outboard gear, or if you're using internal software, use a plugin for limiters. I know if you are using OBS or Streamlabs OBS, they have built-in compressors, limiters, noise gates, EQs. Those are built right into those softwares. I'm pretty sure most, even Livestream Studio, I'm pretty sure has all the audio plugins as well. If you're coming raw from just a mixer straight in, you're going to just have to, mess with your gains a little bit and just kind of judge where your peaks and valleys are going to be, because obviously that's going to be an uncompressed signal coming in. But it's a great idea. It would be cool to have more advanced audio internal features like EQs, compressors, limiters. Obviously, that's a whole new world in itself, but I do love the idea. So thanks for suggesting it, Gordon. Sweet.
All right, Matt says, Mevo for a podcast setup, what do you recommend? That's interesting. Well, there's a few factors there. Go for it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, sure. I mean, obviously, we're talking video. What I would recommend is, it really depends on your podcast. If you're doing a normal podcast setup, which is generally 2, maybe 3 people sitting in a round or sitting at a table, just talking to each other, the 3-pack Multicam app is pretty much built for that. It's perfect for that, right? Because you can have your wide shot, right? Kind of like your big wide angle, your 2-shot. Then you can have your coverage shots, subject 1, subject 2 on their close-ups. You can make sure that the audio is running just to one camera, so you don't have to worry about if it changes shots, your audio is going to go crazy. You can have the audio coming directly into the camera and then directly into your feed. I mean, that's what I would do. I would definitely use a mixer for my microphones and have everything come to one input source in the Multicam app, but that's really all you would need. I mean, what do you think, Will?
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I think, another option for the Multicam app is the audio is completely independent of the video. So you could have one Mevo and that's dedicated. This is like if you didn't want to purchase a mixer, you could have one Mevo that's dedicated to one person and then another Mevo that's dedicated to the other person's mic, and that way you can then, here, I can actually pull it up. And then, so you could have
Oh, there you go.
one person as one Mevo, and then the other person as the other Mevo, and then you can adjust them like that, as well as just mute somebody if they need to. So that's another way of doing it if you didn't want to, you know, purchase that mixer as well. But a mixer is probably going to give you the best control.
Yeah, awesome. That's a great example. It's good showing them the visual that you can stack your audio channels right next to each other like that and have individual inputs, and you can actually use the Mevo Multicam app to have an individual mix for the whole production there too.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. You could probably take this one, Will. I would like to know about camera settings, manual or auto. If manual, what is the frame rate settings and shutter speed, ISO, etc.? I'm going to dig into this as well.
So let's see. If you're using the Mevo 2.0 app, you can control your frame rate. The Multicam app does not have frame rate control, but you can also, like, you can control your resolution in the Multicam app, which controls the bit rate. You can control the latency. But to get to a lot of these default specifics that you're talking about, you would probably want to use the Mevo 2.0 app. So if you already have your Mevo, you can go into the Mevo 2.0 app and see in the settings there's frame rate. In terms of shutter speed and ISO, the shutter speed is not controllable. The ISO, you can control a little bit, I think, right, in the image settings?
Yeah, so the way it works is if you're in auto mode will turn off your shutter speed and your ISO adjustments. And then you can select shutter as a mode, and that will give you the option to change your shutter speed. So if I were to change my shutter speed right now, let's just bump this up. I'm probably going to get really dark, right? Yeah. So that's 1/80. Really, I generally keep this 1/30, and that brings me here. And then in manual mode, that will give you the option to change your shutter speed and your ISO, but it'll remove the option to change your exposure and your white balance. So you just got to really judge what's more important to you. Generally, what I do is leave mine in auto. This way, if I want to change my exposure, like let's say this is going to get really crazy, really bump up my exposure, make it really bright, or if I want to come down a little bit, I like having that option over my shutter speed or my ISO, because I kind of generally just keep that where it is. But that's really the difference. It's just a matter of like what is more important to you depending on your lighting and depending on your shot as far as what you need to change. And again, this could be all done in the camera adjustments section of the Meevo, and this could be done in Multicam app too, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So both apps can do that. Stuart's coming in. He says, "Okay, so I clearly need a powered Ethernet adapter." Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what it is, right? It's power over Ethernet. It's yeah. Basically, you answered your question there. Cool. All right. Dominique chiming in with a big old nice.
Agreed. Jeff says,
Okay.
if I
Yeah,
go
go for it.
live to Facebook and also want to go live to YouTube, is there a way to drop the YouTube live before I finish the Facebook live? Or is it just on and off type of thing? That's a good question. You could do it on the website, but you couldn't do that on the Mevo app.
Right. Yeah. Yep. So you'd have to go to facebook.com and end the stream there, and then YouTube would keep going.
Right.
Cool. Stuart, killing it today. Our location has limited bandwidth. Okay. If, as well as streaming, I'm viewing the Mevo output on the app on a phone, am I using the bandwidth? Would it be better to set the Mevo up and disconnect the phone? That's a great question. I never even thought about that. I mean, you're definitely using bandwidth because you're connected, but I don't know how much that would really affect your stream.
Yeah, I mean, it would, the Mevo app does not use much bandwidth. That's kind of the whole point. We talked about, somebody else had a question earlier about the preview output. We were saying how the preview is kind of degraded in quality, and that's one of the main reasons, because we don't want to waste bandwidth on just that preview. So yeah, it's not going to be a noticeable difference is basically the summary.
Right. Yeah. If you're running into bandwidth issues, it's not like closing that app will solve the problem.
Right.
Likely, it's just the network. You could test this though. I mean, we're just as far as just bandwidth issues, we recommend just as far as speed, I should say, just 10 megabytes per second upload speed as a minimum, just to give yourself enough. Make sure that that network that you're using is free of other devices on it, other network traffic. That'll help. If you can plug in Ethernet, if you're not already, I mean, obviously a hardwired connection is going to be much better as well. So there are ways you can kind of, fight that battle with limited bandwidth.
Yeah, and
you can lower your resolution.
Also, yeah, lower the resolution. You can adjust the frame rate. Also, like I don't know how limited your bandwidth is, but you may have better bandwidth using hotspot mode. I've certainly seen that before.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so give those a try. Let us know how it goes. All right, we're gonna do one last question, and then we'll talk about webcam. That's what we wanted to talk about today. But you guys have been coming in real hot with the questions, which we love. So no complaints there. But Tom says, can you bring in a PDF or PowerPoint documents full screen?
Yeah, in the Mevo 2.0 app.
Yeah. Yep. So if you're using the Mevo 2.0 app, it would just be like adding a graphic, like we kind of talked about before. You can download it onto your SD card directly from your tablet or phone or whatever. If you're doing slideshows, they have to be in PDF format. So if you want to do a full-on slideshow that you want to switch from the app, which I probably could show you too, guys. Here, let's see. I think I have a slideshow set up on here. I do. And look, it's about podcasting.
Nice.
Yeah, let me get a full screen on here. So if I'm in my slideshow, this is a full screen slideshow that I can then click through. Now these are PDF slides. And if you notice that I'm a little cropped in, that's just because of the Skype right now, the way we have it set up. But as you can see, I can just click right through my slides, and this is all happening directly from my Mevo. This actually isn't happening in any type of third-party software or anything like that. So you can absolutely do that there with PDF or PNG for your graphics.
Stuart, no problem. Keep the questions coming. We love them. That's why we're doing the show. We want to answer as many questions as you guys have. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, Stuart, you bring up a good point, right? If you're really trying to build up your production, there are ways that you can kind of try and find cheaper solutions, or maybe try and find ones that don't require as much of equipment potentially. But at the end of the day, your connections are everything, right? So you want to make sure you're using good cables, good adapters, make sure you're using a decent router, if you really want your stream to survive and really thrive. So, equipment is important here for sure.
Definitely.
All right. Well, so we mentioned earlier that we want to talk about webcam. So what are some of the webcam updates we have going on right now?
All right. So let's see. First, I guess I wanted to talk about wireless webcam and kind of the most common sort of issues that we see. I know that I see tons and tons of tickets, maybe not tons and tons, but certainly a good amount that you have wireless webcam open and your camera is not being listed. Obviously, the first thing that you want to check is that your Mevo is on the same Wi-Fi network as your computer, and you want to make sure that you don't have a firewall up either on your computer or on your network. Make sure there aren't any blocked ports. What else? Let's see. Wireless webcam also uses Bonjour, so you want to make sure that that is allowed on your network and available on your computer. I think it's actually part of the install file, right?
Yeah. I think it automatically activates it if it's not active. Cool. So every computer should have it. It's just whatever, not if it's active or not.
Right.
But But yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. I mean, the biggest thing when using wireless webcam, which I think a lot of people don't really realize maybe, is that it is using your wireless network. So if you have any type of blocks, any type of specific firewall things, if you're on a school network or if you're on a hotel network, these are reasons why the wireless system wouldn't work, right? So you really, we say it all the time, you want to have a dedicated network for your Meevos, just because it eliminates any type of outside interference, really.
Yeah, and I would avoid using. A lot of people have issues with if they're using their ISP provided modem or router. For some reason, those usually come with some sort of block, whether it's a firewall or just blocked ports. So we always recommend using third-party Wi-Fi systems. If you have a big area, I always push people towards mesh Wi-Fi networks. But yeah, I would try and avoid ISP provided material.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I ran into that issue myself just doing the live shows. A couple weeks ago, I was setting up a little differently. I was using directly from the modem that I have for my ISP, and it was running into all types of issues. I actually switched it out for the Eero, and since then it's been, smooth sailing. So, be mindful of what routers you're using. Be mindful of your gear for sure. Another thing I want to mention about webcam mode is just the setup of it. So, and like what it can do. So we have two options, right? We have your wired webcam where you're plugging in the Mevo via USB into your computer. And that should be automatic. That should be plug and play. Whether you have Mac or PC, that should automatically find the Mevo and be able to connect to it. If it doesn't, or if you have any issues with that, right away, the first thing you want to do is after you install it, or after the computer detects the device, just do a little restart. Restart the computer with the device detected. This way, the computer knows it is a UVC video source. So when you do hop into your Zoom meeting or your Google Meets meeting, it'll be able to recognize the camera right away. And then as far as wireless is concerned, kind of the same thing. Once you install the app and you connect your camera and everything's connected on the Wi-Fi, you should see, like, there's a million different warnings that'll tell you if you're not connected. Does never hurt after a fresh install or a fresh upgrade to restart your computer. Cool.
Another thing actually that I just realized that I forgot to mention for wireless webcam that I see a lot is people that have VPNs active. I have this issue myself because I use a VPN on my PC computer, and I always have to disable it for wireless webcam mode.
Yeah, so there's definitely some blocks there. So open network, free of interference or free of traffic is always helpful. And yeah, and hey, well, if you plug in the Mevo Ethernet, and let's say you want to put it in a different area, it's not your computer, but your computer is still accessing the same network, can you still use wireless webcam?
Yeah, totally.
Right. So even if the camera is connected to the network via Ethernet, it'll still work, which is actually how I'm using it today.
Nice, yeah. Yeah, we always push people towards Ethernet, whether it's the Mevo PoE or it's just a third-party adapter. Ethernet is just the way to go if you can do it.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Cool. So another question I get as far as webcam is concerned is, what is the advantage of using the Mevo as a webcam in general, right? Like, why not just use my computer stock webcam? So one of the things that, we like to talk about is you can still use all the Mevo functions while using webcam mode. So for example, if I want to kind of give myself a nice tight zoom shot, oh, there it is. I can absolutely do that in my Mevo app, which is connected to a tablet right next to me. And I can still make all those gestures and do all those adjustments, all those image adjustments from the app, even though the Mevo is connected as a webcam.
Yeah, I mean that's really the huge advantage. Obviously, when you bring the Mevo in via like wireless webcam, like you have that great benefit of having, your webcam is suddenly wireless. You have all the features like live follow. You can set up static shots, like all that stuff is really, really nice and useful.
Yeah, that's definitely a huge advantage. So if you do have any webcam specific questions, today's the show to ask. So if you have been trying out using our webcam application, if not, you can find us at mevo.com/webcam. I think we have a slide on this one too, Will. Let's pull that up real quick.
Let's see. Yes.
All right. So if you are interested in using the Mevo as a webcam, go to mevo.com/webcam for the latest downloads for Mac and for PC Windows. And then really what you do is once you open up the app and you are connected to the same network, you can select your Mevo from the drop-down tray in the webcam app. So this is another thing we should probably talk about. Some people download the webcam app, and you'll notice that when you download the webcam app, nothing really happens. It doesn't pull up any type of page or anything like that gives you any type of controls. Really what it's doing is it's opening up an app tray. And on Mac, you'll see this in the top right. On Windows, you'll see this on the bottom left. You see those two images there. And then from here, you can select which Mevo you want to use as your webcam. And the reason we do it this way is because you can have multiple Mevos connected, and then you can pick and choose which one you want to use specifically for your webcam application. So once that's selected, you can then hop into the Mevo app on your tablet or on your phone, and you can do any type of image adjustments or picture adjustments you want, and then have that be fed into your Zoom meeting or your Google Meets or StreamYard or whatever Ecamm, whatever takes your webcam input. Sweet. All right. Anything we missed there for webcam? General information on that?
I think that's about it. I would say just the last thing is, we're releasing updates all the time. So, before you start using it in like your Zoom call or in OBS or whatever it is for that day, definitely click check for updates because there's updates all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. All right. So with that being said, what do you say we dive into some more questions?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. All right. So Tom says, we answered this one already. Okay. How do you get PDF? Okay. So Leo just asked, how do you get a PDF into your cell phone photos?
Cool. So for using a PDF, it depends, obviously, if you're using iOS or Android. For iOS, you could, it'll open up not your photos library for PDF. If you select slides, it will let you open up your files as well. So that's what you would do. You could airdrop it over to your phone. You could email it over, text it over, anything like that, and then you can load it up through your files program. And then for Android, I only know for Samsung, honestly.
Well, it should be the same thing. It's the same thing. It's in your files folder. Like what I'll do is when I make my slides for these presentations, I'll put the PDF slides on a Google Drive, and then I'll just download it directly from the Google Drive on my tablet, and boom, they're there. And then I can just pull them right in. So that's the easiest way to do it for me on my Android tablet.
Cool. Let's see. Kathy says she's replying to Tom. I do it all the time. Looks great. Cool. Jeff says, how about a contest where you guys select one winner every 6 months to go out there to location and help them do a better production?
Wow.
That would be cool.
That would be awesome, actually. That would be a lot of fun. It's a great idea, but when you have an idea like that, a lot of things trickle down, like financials and logistics that go together with that. But I actually don't hate it.
Yeah. That would be
all right.
Cool.
Thank you for the suggestion, Jeff. Fortuna Church of the Redeemer. I am unable to successfully stream using the Rtmp setup. Okay. All right. So this is definitely something that some of you may experience. The quick fixes here, or the quick checks here, double check your URL and your stream key and make sure that they are correct. If you're using YouTube, be sure that you have previously already set up the live page with a persistent stream key. This way, when you're coming from the Mevo, that'll go to that same stream key every single time. That's how we do it here. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can also see us on Facebook and Twitch as well. Other reasons for Rtmp errors. I feel like Rtmp is like this Rtmp errors are like this Pandora's box of like little things that have to go right for it to work properly.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the most common thing is there is, one letter or number that is just off. It's hard to catch those things. The best way to do it, if you have an Apple device and you use iCloud, you can copy it directly from the computer. You can put it in like a Google Doc, something like that. So yeah, mostly I see people that just there's like one thing that's wrong in the key or something like that. But I also have seen, if you're using hotspot mode, I've definitely seen some carriers that, will have like some sort of block or limitation for Rtmp. That's kind of more rare, but it's definitely something that I've seen. But yeah, it really depends on the destination that you're using. So yeah, if you want to send us a ticket at help.mevo.com, we'd be more than happy to help you figure that out.
Yeah, she's chiming in too, saying she's continuing to get a duplicate stream key warning, which means, what does that mean? I guess that just means you're trying to use the same stream key on two different URLs, most likely. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, where are you streaming to?
I think she said YouTube, or maybe not. No, she didn't say anything yet. Or they. I'm gendering this. He or she. Open up a ticket. Yeah, open up a ticket with us at help.mevo.com, and we'll dive a little deeper into this for you. All right. Fred says, will the multicam be tested with the new Apple devices? If we can get our hands on them, I'm sure we can. If you get your hands on yours first, let us know how it goes. Let's see. What is an ISP? That's a great question. ISP is a internet service provider. So that would be your local internet service provider. We just use acronyms here. If the acronyms get too crazy, definitely let us know in the chat. I appreciate it.
Speaking of janks, we were told by a lead technical specialist, Joe, who's being so kind as to watch and help out. He says that Fortuna Church of the Redeemer, you should try generating a new key. So obviously it depends on where you're streaming to, but if it's Facebook, I think you can click persistent key and then click it and it'll set up a new key. And then obviously on YouTube, you can create different events. So yeah, try generating a new key. That's what we recommend.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. Absolutely great advice. Okay. Let's see. Any chance Fred the Hippo is directing now? He's saying any chance the live show times will be moved or changed?
To win.
I don't think. Yeah. When is good for you, Fred? When is good for you? Let us know. He said, or special weekend shows. Unfortunately, we're not here on the weekends. Help.mevo.com and us will are available from 9 to 6 Monday through Friday. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're throwing in tickets, it's actually good to know because some people do hit us up on weekends and expect an answer right away, and we don't have that set up currently. So if you are looking for support from us, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, so if you've got a weekend stream, whether it's, like a sports game or House of Worship production or something like that, and you have any questions at all, be sure to send them to us on Friday, so we can help you out with that before it happens.
Yep. And then if you do need help on the weekends, I'll recommend the Mevo customer group. If you haven't seen our Mevo customer groups, we have one for webcam, we have one for multicam, and we have just a general one. It's a great place to get answers. There's a lot of great users in there that are basically experts at the Mevo now because they've been using it over the years. And chances are whatever you're running into, especially if you're new, they've probably run into themselves as well. So it's a good place to get answers when we're not available. Also, cool. All right, the most common question: any plans to add more cameras to multicam?
Hopefully soon.
Hopefully, yeah, we're trying to. It's definitely something that is highly requested. We just got to figure out, best way to do it. Okay, protection or functional shell for the camera. That is a great question. We don't have anything that we sell. Have you seen anything in the Facebook groups pertaining to protecting the camera?
Like How do you mean? I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
we've got the Mevo start case for when you're transporting it. As far as, um, like a clear shell or something like that, I haven't seen anything like that. That would be really cool. I've seen certainly people using um, the special kind of plastic, or I think it's plastic bags to kind of protect it from rain and stuff like that. But yeah, I haven't seen any kind of shell. I've seen people use like hard hats and stuff like that on top of their Mevo. Like I've seen a lot of very creative ways, but unfortunately, nothing too specific.
Yeah. Ramiro, he's coming in again. He's just following up saying, once you use it as a webcam, you start exposing it to falls and scratches. I mean, maybe. I mean, that depends on how you have yours set up as a webcam. Right now I'm using the Mevo table stand, and this thing ain't going anywhere. So that's not falling or scratching at all.
Yeah.
He also suggests maybe add a light or a monitor. I mean, these are also cool ideas. Adding like an additional lighting source. You could do that with the Ring setup. I wish I could take it down and show you guys, because I actually have a Mevo connected to the Ring mount, so it's inside the Ring, and it really works out pretty great. But those are some good ideas, and there are some companies out there that we may know that have some lighting products. So
Looks like we have one up above from Tom Garman saying, could the
this
Mevo
one?
start act as a Wi-Fi repeater to daisy chain the starts among one another like around a ball field? So, sort of. So you wouldn't want to connect one Mevo to the other Mevo and then that Mevo to another Mevo, but you could certainly connect. If you're using 3 Mevos, for example, you could do one Mevo is connected to that center Mevo, and then you have your other Mevo that's also connected to that. So that would definitely work. And we have a help article that details how to do that. In addition, with this latest multicam update with 1.2, you now have all of those options in the app. So you can just press, I think in the app, I think it's called AP mode.
AP mode.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's definitely an option. Although I'm
Yeah,
not sure if it would give you full coverage of a baseball field.
no, and actually, you have a great video. If you go back and check our YouTube our history, there's a video Will did from a baseball field where you also incorporated a separate router to give you a little bit more distance on those Meevos as well, right?
Yeah, I think I haven't seen too many people try and duplicate that. I think it would be great if I saw more of that, but you can definitely use like a home router that's run off a battery, and that'll give you more room. I've done it with, I think it was the Orbi router. So yeah, I would do
Very
that.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Well, let's keep going. I mean, we got about 7 minutes to the hour. We got a ton of questions coming in. Let's tackle them. Okay, Kathy says that would be awesome to have someone actually come. That would be pretty cool. That would be some pretty awesome VIP service to have us just come set up your setups. But I'm sure that's not sustainable. Whoever comes with add on Zoom wide angle lenses will make some money from Tom. That's something that has been mentioned before, additional lenses, and that's something that we definitely have pushed towards our team to kind of look into.
Kevin says, had a problem in the multicam app where the audio from the Mevo built-in mics came in. It was out of sync and recorded out of sync. Thoughts?
Had a problem with the multicam app or audio built-in mics? That is strange. What version of the multicam app are you on?
Yeah, I would check to make sure that you're using the updated multicam app. Typically, if there's any kind of sync issue, then there may be issues with the Wi-Fi and like the connection between the Mevo and your multicam app. So another thing I would check is make sure you've set the camera input quality to different resolutions. Maybe try lowering it as well as changing the latency around. Maybe like I put mine typically on high because I'm not chatting with people directly where I need, or like playing a video game or something like that where I need like instant reactions from viewers. But yeah, I would try and adjust the latency.
Nice. All right. VFX to be able to. How about this one? Will DJ Decade from Twitch. For the iPhone, will there ever be a fix to be able to leave the Mevo app and not stop the stream?
So, if your Mevo is connected to Wi-Fi or Ethernet, you can definitely leave the Mevo app. But if it's in hotspot mode, unfortunately, this is a limitation of iOS, not the Mevo app, because you can do this in the Android app. But yeah, unfortunately, if you're using an iPhone, you just don't have too many options in terms of being able to leave the Mevo app. You know, if you're using a tablet, you can do multitasking and have like if your other program is, I don't know. I've seen lots of people using score keeping apps, and I know some people like to open up their chat from Facebook or YouTube or Twitch. So you can do all of those on a tablet, but unfortunately with iOS, it's just a limitation of iOS.
Right. All right. Kendrick says, I can't get the Mevo to show up on my laptop. It doesn't detect the Mevo. All right, Kendrick, thanks for bringing it back around to webcam. I would need to know if you're connecting wired or wirelessly. So let's just go through both scenarios. If you're connecting through a wired connection and it's not detecting, I would check your USB cable would be the first thing I would look at, and then I would also restart the Mevo, restart your computer, and see if it then detects. If you're going on a wireless connection, double check that you can connect to the same network, and if you are connected to the same network, double check that you're selected in the drop-down tray. If there's nothing showing up in the drop-down tray, that means your computer is not seeing the Mevo on the network. So this could mean that there might be some blocks, like we spoke about earlier. There might be some firewall part blocks that you might need to look into. You might need to let what's the other setting? The device setting. I can't think of the word. Enable connected devices. Is that what it is? You have to enable connected devices in the router settings, so you can actually those two things can communicate. So there's a couple of different things you need to look at. So take a look at that stuff first. If you really can't figure it out, open up a ticket with us at help.mevo.com, and we can unpack this a little further for you. Okay, DJ Decade says, I have 3 Mevo cameras, and I have to take the iPad to watch the stream and chat with my viewers. Well,
yeah, so if you have an iPad, you can do multitasking. Let me
that's right.
Put it up real quick, and let's see if I can demo that.
And that'll work in hotspot mode? Won't affect it?
Yeah, definitely.
Great.
So, so I don't have a great sort of demo to show you right now, but you can see that if I swipe up from the bottom, I can pull up this app drawer. And if you have the YouTube app, the Facebook app, or even if you use Safari, you can put that icon down here, and then you can click and drag it, or click, I guess, press and drag it, and then it'll open up the overlay from the Safari or Facebook or something like that. Obviously, I don't have those apps set up right now, but that's how you would do it.
There you go. So easy workaround for the iPad users on iOS to be able to see multitask, right? Use different apps when using the Mevo app. So that's a good workaround. I like that. I don't have an iPad, so I don't really get to see that often. Check the sample for this. It's 360. I don't know what that means. When is the next multicam update or features? I mean, we're looking at updating these as soon as we can. Just when it comes to whatever the features are ready. Typical way it goes is we'll take your feedback, see if it's possible. Our team in the Ukraine, our dev team, are awesome, and they'll figure out how to make it work. We'll test it a million times, and then if we feel like it's ready to go, we'll push it out to you guys. So that's why you see updates come pretty frequently from Mevo.
Yeah, there's a good one coming up. I promise you that.
That's for sure. All right. Just another suggestion from Jeff here, saying a hard Pelican case would be great. You could put 3 Meevos in, some cores, PoE equipment. Yeah, I mean, that's just a normal flight case. You can get custom ones. They make actually ones where you can actually customize where, like the foam slots, so you can actually have them specifically for the Meevos if you really want to. There's a lot of companies that do flight cases. We just don't have anything like that right now for like a whole production case. But it's a great idea.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, this is a good one for you, Will. With the multicam setup and the Mevo Multicam 2 app, is the bandwidth of the streams mixed, or is it the total bandwidth of all the cameras over Wi-Fi router? So I guess what they're asking here is if you're using multicam, do you need 30 megabytes per second opposed to 10?
So it's you don't need 30 megabytes, obviously. So there's the multicam, the Mevo's going to the multicam app, so that's internal bandwidth on your network. And then as far as the streaming bandwidth, it's actually going to be very low. So we try and make the entire process pretty low, and we do that by the Meevos send HEVC video versus H.264. Yeah, that's right, H.264, which takes up more bandwidth. And then it does stream at H.264, but I don't think I've seen over... I haven't seen over like 8 or 10 megabytes per second. So it's just the same amount that you would use with a single Mevo with the Mevo 2.0 app. And I think generally, your input bandwidth, even if you're set at 1080p, you need maybe like 15, 16 megabytes per second. So really not a lot. We try and limit that as much as possible.
Awesome. All right, we're winding down here. We're past we're 2 past the hour, so we'll get these last questions in here, and then we'll wrap this up. It says Lakers class of 2026 basketball. That's awesome. Do the apps now support M1 Apple chips? Can the PoE Ethernet adapters communicate through the Ethernet without PoE routers and use power through the camera? No, we mentioned that earlier. As far as the M1 support, so M1 is supported for wireless webcam right now, but not currently wired webcam right now. UVC mode is not supported by M1 yet. So hopefully that answers that. Will NDI and multicam?
It is on our list. It's on our list of coming soon. We don't know exactly when that's coming, but it's definitely on our list.
Yeah. All right. Everyone's asking about what the update we're talking about is. A couple of things that we can't really mention right now, but I know some UI things. This one's more, from what I've seen, it's more of a maintenance upgrade where we can actually do, just make it a little easier to connect. We're trying to make our UI interface a little bit better, make it a little easier for people to use, because especially if you're doing a million different connections, I don't know, in a normal day, I connect the Mevo to Hotspot mode, Ethernet, Wi-Fi, 3 or 4 times over. So it'll make it a little easier to get through those types of scenarios for sure. What about 720? I guess we're talking bandwidth here still. Obviously, lowering your resolution is going to have less strain on your stream. And can I use Vimeo with the multicam or multi-destination streaming with the multicam app? So, all right, so this will be the last one for the day. This is a great one to end on. Will, so if someone wants to stream to multiple destinations using the multicam app, how would they do that?
So the multicam app does not have multi-destination built in, but you can still stream to multiple destinations using the multicam app. You can use either a Vimeo premium subscription to stream to Vimeo. You can use Restream like we're using today, and stream from Rtmp from multicam to Restream, and Restream will send it out. There's also Caster, and I think one other service that I'm blanking on right now. But there are definitely lots of options to do that.
All right. Awesome. And then we just got chime in. Joe's listening. He's just giving us some more information on the PoE question. So you can the PoE using the power USB and the Mevo will power the PoE device, but it's also at the same time going to be draining your device. So it's kind of counterproductive, especially if you're using if you're doing a long stream, and you need more power. Cool. All right. Well, I think we did great today. I think we got a lot of engagement, a lot of good questions, a lot of good discussion. Let's close it out.
Let's do it. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. If we didn't get to your question for the live show, definitely either open a ticket with us at help.mevo.com. We'll be live again on Tuesday. You can ask then. Obviously, we've got our Facebook group as well. And if you did not find your answer in any of those places, please open up a ticket and one of us will help you one-on-one very quickly. And yeah, that's it. We will be live on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, we'll see you all then.
All right. Take care.
Bye, guys.